There's only a few things that take me back to my childhood. That's maple syrup, pancakes, Star Wars, and video games. That excitement and wonder that I had as a kid on Christmas morning doesn't happen to me very often. But the release of this Super Mario Bros. Movie successfully captured all those aspects roll into one single thing. That excitement, that wonder, and that entertainment, all those things I remember as a kid, I felt while sitting down watching this film. And I am personally glad that I had the chance to experience those things and those feelings just one more time. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lincoln. This is an RPG show, and this is my review of the Super Mario Bros. Movie 2023. From the beginning of this film, it was evident that it was going to be a nostalgia ride for the ages. The use of that 16-bit Super Mario Bros. Opening was absolutely brilliant. It took me back to when I hit that start button on that Nintendo controller for the very first time and embarked on a journey that would lead me into loving video games for as long as I can remember. The movie itself opened perfectly. It felt like I was playing that 2D scroller that I remember playing and loving as a kid. The music played a huge part in this film as well that led to my enjoyment of it. If you have ever touched a Nintendo game or a Nintendo console, you should see this film. If you have never touched a Nintendo console or a Nintendo video game, you should still absolutely see this film. The question I've been asked is this film solely made for the fans of the franchise? I would say wholeheartedly, absolutely not. This film does a really good job at balancing out what made the video games good, while also not pigeonholing themselves to what the video games was. This felt more like a Nintendo Universe film than just a Super Mario Bros. Movie. They managed to work in some of the things like Donkey Kong, Super Mario Kart, and the Super Mario proper video game, as well as a bit of Luigi's Mansion, for a perfect balance of what I felt was nostalgia for the fans and accessibility for the non-fans. This turned out to be a great family-friendly movie from start to finish. The Easter eggs in the movie also were placed really well and they made sense. They weren't just placed in the movie to say, oh, this was in the video game. Oh, this is something that you may or may not remember. They had meaning and they added context to the scene that they were used in. This is something that most video game adaptations kind of struggle with. They struggle with trying to be too on the nose with their Easter eggs or being too on the nose with their just hidden meanings and things, but not here. The film does a really good job at making this stuff work and making this stuff have meaning. Now, the plot, the performances, and the soundtrack, these are some of the things I want to cover going throughout the rest of this video, starting with the plot. The plot itself, this is as basic as it gets, just like the video game. I'm not too sure what some people may expect from a story, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary for a Super Mario Bros. Movie. Bowser in the game would always kidnap Peach, and Mario would always have to go save her. Plain and simple. In the movie, Bowser wants to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom, and Mario has to stop him. Again, plain and simple. And this just works. The film was also quite funny. I laughed a lot throughout the course of the film. The pacing was also just right. The runtime was just over an hour and a half, and they did not waste any time getting to the point. They cut out the fluff and got straight to the meat and potatoes of what the Super Mario Bros. Movie and the Super Mario Bros. Franchise is. They didn't really have time to dilly-dally around, and I really appreciate the effort that they put in making just this movie good for what it needed to be. This film was also a lesson on how to write great protagonists. Mario himself had to work for everything that he got in the film. He had his ups, he had his downs, just as every hero should. The film took him on just what I say would be a hero's journey that paid off in the end for the character and the audience. And now Peach herself, she wasn't no slouch either. My girl was out there putting in some work just like Mario was. They both had to work together to solve what they had in a common problem, which is Bowser. Mario as a character also wasn't broken down just to build Peach up. And Peach herself, she didn't overshadow Mario as the main character in a Super Mario Brothers film. They were good at what they did respectively in their own rights. This was a breath of fresh air to see in modern day Hollywood. And I'm sure Nintendo wasn't having any of the political PR stuff shoved into this film, and it was absolutely better for it. The cast and the performances. Where do I even start? For me personally, this was probably the thing I was worried about the most in the film, specifically Chris Pratt as Mario. And I'm happy to say he did a decent job, as well as Anya Taylor-Joy and Charlie Day. But the standout performance of this film goes absolutely to Jack Black as Bowser. He absolutely stole the show, and it makes sense seeing that he's probably the only one that has done multiple voice acting gigs over the years. So, I mean, it's to be expected. He absolutely killed the role. The soundtrack, man, the soundtrack itself was so good. They brought in some heavy hitters to pull in the audience and immerse them in just what I would say is probably one of the best experiences I've had in a long time in the theaters. Battle Without Honor of Humanity. I remember this from Kill Bill. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, of course, by the Beastie Boys. Take On Me by Aha. Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And of course, you cannot forget Jack Black's performance of Peaches. That was absolutely a 10 out of 10. The soundtrack really immersed me in the film, and it had me excited for everything that I was watching on screen. A good score and a good composer of a film takes the music and it makes it tell a story, improving on the visual storytelling that's happening on the screen right alongside it. This was a great adaptation of an iconic video game franchise, and like I said earlier, if you are a fan of this genre or this video game, you need to go see this film. And if you're not, go see the film anyway, because you will not be disappointed. Overall, I would give Super Mario Brothers movie a solid 8 out of 10. As always, guys, before I get out of here, I'm going to take a look at the critic and user reviews over here on Rotten Tomatoes and see if I either agree or disagree. So let's get into it, shall we? Surprise, surprise. The critics gave it a 57, audience gave it a 96. Critics hate it, I loved it. It is what it is. So 219 critic reviews. Let's start with the first one, TT Stern. The sneak surprise here is Jack Black playing Bowser. He's hilarious. Yes, Jack Black was great. He gave it a tomato. Chris Kennedy gave it a rotten. The missing ingredient for those adult audiences is any kind of wit or clever dialogue in the film screenplay. It's a movie based off of a video game. I don't know how much wit or whatever you were looking for. It's for Super Mario Brothers fans, and that's what we got. Let's look at the next one. Fast-paced and entertaining, if also lacking any real emotion and substance. What? It works best as a homage to the games. Yes, no shit. That's what it is. The Super Mario Brothers movie is a little too afraid to stray from the brothers' origins. Yeah, it's a game. It's a movie based off of a Super Mario Brothers video game. Why would you stray away? This is the problem with some of the adaptations in Hollywood as of late. They're straying too far away from what the source material is. It's Super Mario Brothers movie based off of the game, and that's what we got. I loved it. 8 out of 10. An impressive Hollywood A-list voice cast and script filled with nods to the video game series adds to the appeal. By about the hour mark, you might well feel this is just a one long chase movie. That's pretty much what Super Mario Brothers is. He's chasing Bowser down to save Peach. Same with the video game. Nothing new here. Yeah, I don't understand some of these negative ones. A frantic Easter egg hunt of a film that does the bare minimum to please its loyal existing fan base. Wendy, I'm going to say you're absolutely wrong, because they did total opposite of that by absolutely pleasing its Nintendo and Super Mario Brothers fan base. But we'll call it right here, man. That's it. It's a good film, 8 out of 10. If you're a fan or not a fan, go check it out. You will not be disappointed. But until next time, guys, my name's Lincoln. This has been an RPG show. Like, comment, sub, and I'm out.